Hey, how you doing?
We'll see you in a little bit, man. We're getting started. We got only like 40 interviews to go today, so no big
So
deal.
does he.
Armin's got about the same amount.
I only
Best
have.
of luck, man. I
Thank
can't
you.
wait for you to see the setup we got out here too. It's insane.
It's unbelievable.
It's
Oh, wow.
insane.
I look
It's a
forward.
TV studio.
He should come in person.
Come
I
in
look forward
person.
to seeing you. What's that?
Come in person. Don't live stream it. Of course, you got your day full, but
Yeah, I wish I could get it. We have back to back till 5:30. Are you guys? How long are you there for?
I think they're going to be in the lobby. I mean, in the atrium till about 8.
Okay. Well, I may stop by then.
Why not have a drink?
Right there at Isom.
Bring
right?
a drink.
Right there off of Isom, right?
Jones Maltzberger and 410. Yeah, we're at a different location.
Oh, you're not okay.
You know that long building with the big atrium in the front?
Yeah.
We're in that big atrium.
Isn't it called the atrium? What's the building
It's
called?
called Century Heights.
Okay.
It's a cool building.
7:58. Well, thanks to our Facebook viewers who are tuning in. We are just gearing up to talk to Scott McAninch. We have all-day programming, and we'll officially start here in about 2 minutes. It's a very special day for us, for many nonprofits, and we'll find out how many nonprofits are participating today. And just give us a few seconds here as we work out some logistics. All right. Where are we here? It's nice to see a video of yourself on Facebook Live looking at your phone while you're looking at your phone. All right. All right, Scott, we're going to start here in a few seconds. All right, happy Thursday, ladies and gentlemen. It is September the 10th of 2020. Yes, we are still in 2020. But before we end the year, we have great events like the one today. It's an all-day giving campaign called The Big Give. I've taken part in it for several years, and the reason why it has been so successful is because of our first guest, Scott McAninch, who I will introduce here in a few seconds. We have a programs all day lined up for you all on Facebook Live. Please bring in your questions, type them all into the comments. My colleague Samantha Scory is working behind the scenes to make sure she answers your questions or any comments that you may have. The biggivesa.org is where everyone should go to make a donation to their preferred nonprofit. Hopefully it's World Affairs Council. Others, there are many others, and we'll talk to Scott about that in more detail. And so we have 11 programs. We're going from now until 5:30. And we thought, in addition to asking for donations, we wanted to show our supporters in the community what the World Affairs Council does. And the best way of doing that, we could show videos and we could have a puppet show or something. But the best way, we thought, is we would just share with you our programming. And so we're bringing it to you virtually on the hour, every hour. Our schedule is available on Facebook and also on our website. But you can look on our Facebook page for all the different times at every hour. I want to welcome someone who I have known for many, many years from my time at Big Brothers Big Sisters, who has been a real proactive person in the community, who has been really out there advocating on behalf of the nonprofits in the community, running the nonprofit council, bringing in speakers, talking to legislatures, and really pushing our cause to the forefront of community leaders like Harvey Najum and of course local government. Scott McAninch was in broadcasting for over 20 years, and he's been at the council since 2007, I believe. And the best way I thought to introduce him was the following way. I think that's one of your favorite songs, is it not?
Money, money, money.
Wasn't
That's it.
Wasn't that a skit or something?
Yes, in the big gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the 4 years. I can't remember. They all run together.
Scott, how are things lining up for today? You've got a lot going on. Give us a little, before we dive into what the Big Give is about and how the Nonprofit Council has taken over the Big Give and its logistics and putting it on. Tell me a little bit about how today looks for you and your team.
Yeah, and first of all, Armin, thanks for letting me kick off your day. We're excited for you all. We are our team of a small team, just like you, of 2.5 staff, are excited to finally bring Big Give to the community this year after the pause back in March. But what we're most excited about is seeing things like this, where you all, the individual agencies that participate through Big Give and the website, really kind of rally around and get involved big time to not only, and as you said, not only utilize this as a major fundraising day, which it really should be. And certainly in a time like now, this is totally all virtual. It was always meant to be. Over the years, it coursed into and evolved into a lot of in-person events and after parties and things like that, which, we hope to get back to. But the main, one of the main reasons that I originally wanted the council to get involved with this in 2014 was I thought it was a great way to highlight and showcase what the nonprofits do in our 15 county community, and things like you're doing today, showcasing your agency and what World Affairs Council does here in San Antonio, and bringing in people from around the world is pretty awesome. And folks may not know that. And they probably don't, just like they don't know the nonprofit council. So I think it's important to this community, and we are committed as an organization and as a staff to make sure that this is successful and goes on for a while, because again, it really is a time to shine the spotlight on nonprofits and give a little while you're looking.
what, if we could back up just a little bit, if you could give a 30-second version of what the nonprofit council does. Of course, I know it from personal experience as the advocacy component to it.
Yeah.
Share a little bit about that for people who
Sure.
don't.
So the organization was formed in 2003, and it was originally under the United Way of San Antonio and Bexar County. And it was basically a group of the funded agencies, the 68 or 70 agencies that United Way supports. It was the executive directors and CEOs that formed a, kind of a committee. They would meet once a month, have breakfast, talk about issues, things that impact them and their agencies, community issues that impact the sector. In '03, they decided they wanted a little bit more advocacy muscle with the organization. So they needed to move out from under the United Way and expand membership beyond that 70, core group. Originally, it was all health and human service agencies because that's what the funding was from United Way at that time. But they wanted more, just a diverse group of agencies in the mix. So they formed their C3 and Articles of Incorporation in '03, and I was brought on part-time in '05 to just help kind of build out programming for the organization. So over the years, we have had a strong advocacy committee that works on the behalf of the sector. We typically had done that through state work up in Austin during the biennium when the sessions. We now focus a little bit more heavily on San Antonio City Council and county government. And one of the things I think what's unique about us, Armin, is it's not just we have 200 members of nonprofits in San Antonio, Hill Country out in Kerrville and New Braunfels. But what that is, it's not just the agency, it's the executive director and the CEO, like yourself. So it's your peer group brought together by the nonprofit council to really utilize the power that you all have to bring more a cohesive voice to the community of nonprofits through our vehicle of the nonprofit council. And we also connect you all, as you know, through a group email chain that I just can't imagine how a lot of the agencies would have, kind of navigated the whole COVID shutdown and turning staff virtually and programmings virtually, if it wasn't for that connectivity to each other, asking who's doing this. I mean, who's used this, and how are we supposed to? Where can we get PPE equipment? Does anyone know? All of those things came out during March, April, May. They continue, and I am always in just overwhelmed at the response that each of the nonprofit members, the CEOs, give one another. Because in the long run, we're all competing for funding and support financially, but when it comes right down to it, the people who run these organizations know that we're stronger together, and so they're willing to help out when they can.
And what I love is not only the literal support, but the actual moral support that the EDs provide to each other. It's been very, very helpful to a lot of nonprofits. Not only exchanging ideas, but just being there, I think, has been instrumental. So if you don't know about the Nonprofit Council, be sure to visit their Facebook page and check out their website and become a member. And for-profits can join as well.
Yes, we do have a for-profit membership level. We have some really great small, medium, and large companies locally who are members of the council, and they lend their expertise as well from the corporate side into many of our active committees, our membership, our advocacy, and our leadership development committee. And we have 3 of them that actually sit on our board as well, in addition to our CEO and executive director board. So it's a really nice mix of, the nonprofit leadership, for-profit leadership, and just getting some different perspectives on our work and what we do in the community. Plus, they do support financially certainly the Big Give to a big extent. We're grateful to all the business members of our organization that support financially the Big Give, and this year most specifically the matching minutes and the magic minute.
Well, and I have some follow-ups about that as well. Before we get more into the Big Give, I do want to mention you have a team, Mercedes and Jerry, who also are always helping out, very helpful.
Yes.
Who I've reached out. You've got a really good team out there.
Yeah, it's small, and it always has been. Actually, I was alone for many years, the first 8 years, I think, of my existence with the council. And Mercedes was the first edition, and it has just been invaluable to have her and focusing on membership. When you get right down to it, the day-to-day activities, and when you're wearing different hats as a executive, doing payroll, doing financials, doing, board work, our focus is our membership, and that's key. And that's why there needed to be someone to really help kind of bring all that together, and also just instrumental with the Big Give. I mean, you said it earlier, we had a partner early on through the Area Foundation who, was a huge supporter of the Big Give in the early years. And I credit Dennis Knoll, who's the ex-CEO. I'll always credit he and Linda McDavitt from the executive. She's the CEO of Genevieve and Ward Orsinger Foundation, for really bringing Big Give and making it happen here. The council wasn't, we didn't have the capacity to bring this to the community, and the Area Foundation didn't want that as a focus. They wanted to help support with staff and infrastructure. And so we partnered together early on, and it was really successful. And so we now have taken the reins as of the last 3 years. The council is exclusively bringing this, and, we haven't missed a beat, I will say. And I have to credit GiveGab, which is the platform provider, the company out of Ithaca, New York, that really maintains and manages and makes such a fabulous website for donors to use and nonprofits to navigate, and couldn't do it without them as well. And then Jerry's our marketing director, who, handles social media, handles all the graphics, and handles communications and marketing. And that's a critical piece for all nonprofits, because telling that story and getting the word out on a consistent basis is important for us.
How many nonprofits are participating this year?
We have 509 that are participating. We actually had just under that, I think it was like 486 going into March for the actual giving day on March 26th. But we've had a few come in over the summer and through the relief site that wanted to try it again in September. So those have joined, and we're real excited. I think, I think it's given the nonprofits an opportunity, another vehicle to bring in individual donors. The funding community, I've always said in interviews recently that the local foundations and United Way and Harvey Najum and Gordon Hartman and all of the family foundations have really stepped up to support the critical needs right now of nonprofits and the community needs. But it's those individual donors that nonprofits, and this as an organization, we rely on those. They're very critical. And with all the in-person fundraisers that have been canceled and continue to be canceled and will be for the foreseeable future, this day is really particularly important. It always is, but this is a time that really nonprofits can get out there and try and get those individual smaller donations to that really add up.
How much has the Big Give collectively raised, and how much do you foresee? Do you all predict what will be raised? Is there a goal or anything?
So history-wise, the past 6 years, just over 25 million has been, and I don't say we raised, the Big Give brand helped the nonprofits. The nonprofits raised those dollars. On the back end, we do fundraise for prize money and incentive dollars and operations to run the Big Give. But that's an impressive number over 6 years, over 25 million. Last year it was just under 4.7 million raised. Look, we've sort of shied away from like monetary goals in the past because unfortunately that's what a lot of folks focus on when it's all over. Why didn't you make your goal? What happened here? In the long run, the goal is just to have as successful a day as we can for the nonprofits and to get them the exposure all in one day from all the media outlets, getting all the coverage and just getting that word out. My hope is with all that's been going on and the needs increasing with nonprofits, I'm hoping that more people will see the critical care and critical support that they're providing our community citizens right now, and will really kind of reach out and support. And the Big Give is that perfect platform. It's a $10 donation. It's a $500 donation. You can donate to 20 nonprofits with one transaction. That money, by the way, that you donate to a nonprofit or multiple nonprofits passes through the Big Give site and goes directly to those nonprofits you choose. And it goes into their bank accounts within 7 days for immediate use, unrestricted funding. And that's important because they need money to survive and to keep the lights on. And so they can use those funds they raise today, literally within a week to 10 days.
I think you bring up a really important point, Scott. It is a fundraising day, a giving day. And we're hoping we will share overnight. I think we have already raised close to 2,000, if I'm not mistaken, and with our sponsorship, it's close to 3,000. And we'll talk more about that. But in addition to giving, it's the opportunity for nonprofits like ours and many others to showcase what they do.
Right.
It's I don't want to say free publicity, but it's a very good opportunity to have those nonprofits who don't get a lot of recognition in the community to get that recognition. So it's very important.
Yeah. And I think what's unique about the site as well, I mean, everyone kind of compares this day to Giving Tuesday in the fall after Thanksgiving. But what really stands out for the Giving Days locally, and we're just one of like 100+ cities that do these around the country throughout the year. This is local. I mean, the agencies that you find on the Big Give are within our 15 county area, or they serve the community within our 15 counties. And so you're donating and you're keeping your money to a local organization. If you live in Comal County or Guadalupe or Kerr County, you can go onto the site and type in Kerr County, and all the agencies from Kerr County that are registered to participate, they're right there, and you can choose and you can support actually your local Kerrville nonprofit, which is really kind of cool. So it's a very local, kind of hyper local, snapshot of the nonprofits that you're giving to and supporting that do work in our community.
And it's a very user-friendly site, the biggivesa.org. Like Scott said, just type in the organization or the county, and it takes you right to it. Very user-friendly. And what I love is you could donate to multiple organizations you don't have to log back out and whatnot. Scott, are there other cities that do something similar to the Big Give?
Yes, actually, we are part of the, like I mentioned, GiveGab is the company that hosts our website. For the past, this will be the 4th year that they have done that for us. It's beautiful. I mean, it really is a top-notch site. They have over 100 cities across the country that they manage giving days for. So yes, there are. And what I like about that company, since we've been on with them for 4 years, is they connect all of us, our cities together, just like the nonprofit council does for the CEOs and EDs. They do that for the Giving Day leaders. So our team gets to communicate with, we were just communicating with Gainesville, Florida, who did their Giving Day 2 weeks ago. Very successful. They followed our lead, canceled their day in the spring, turned their site to a relief site, postponed their day till August, and they had a huge day. They had year over year, they raised more money. So that's what makes me hopeful, is we're seeing what other communities are doing, and they're following our lead. We're following theirs. We're learning from each other. I will say that, and what's interesting to me is over the past 4 years that we've had that connectivity to other communities, it shows me what other communities are doing that we're not, or what entities, what supporters in other communities are not supporting the Big Give. And it's interesting to see that. I will say that our online donations typically run, if not neck and neck, they run higher than most organizations in most cities I've seen, while they have more support on corporate, foundation, stretch pools, sponsorships, and all of that. We have a giving community of individual citizens in this 15 county South Texas area that really give. And they're the folks that support the Big Give, huge.
That says something about our community.
It does. And that makes me proud when folk, other like Austin, I'll give them a shout out. We love Austin. They've been doing their Giving Day for like 10 years now. And we just got connected with them within the last 2 or 3 years with when they joined GiveGab. And yesterday their executive director reached out and, we're going to be watching you. Congratulations. Good luck. It's things like that that's really nice. And we're all supportive of one another. And Austin's a unique community, and they do a phenomenal day. So yeah, there are advantages to having that connectivity.
That's great. And you were talking about marketing earlier. You have someone who is who works at and helps out various Big Give or Giving Day platforms, Chris Strub, and he's working behind the scenes and also conducting interviews all day. I think he said 40 interviews today.
Yeah, they're just like you. They went live at 8 o'clock, and they will run live, I believe, until 9 this evening here in our headquarters at the atrium at Century Heights. Chris, I've been connected with him now. I met him 3 years ago in Louisville. Again, would have never known about him, but I took the time to visit Louisville on their Giving Day 3 years ago in September, just to see what they did. They had a huge block party downtown. Chris was doing all their Facebook live streaming, and I wanted to see it in person. So I went, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to find a way to hire this gentleman and bring him in. And we did that. This is year 2 with Chris doing all of our live social media with Jerry, our marketing director. It's just one of those things where it's what he does. He calls himself the Giving Day guy. That's his job. So he knows what he's doing. He's good at it. I trust him. He handles the interviews beautifully with Jerry. And it's hard, as you know, Armin, you can't be all places at once. And so you rely on staff and potentially hired consultants to help you achieve what you're trying to do. And it'd be much more difficult if we didn't have Chris on the team.
We've been talking to Scott McAninch, President and CEO of the Nonprofit Council, overseeing the Big Give, which is already started. It started at midnight and it goes.
We're at 736,000.
All right. I think by the time of my interview, that number I go on with Chris at about 11:20.
Well, we'll be over 1 million by then.
That's great. And anyone could donate from anywhere, you know. if
Yeah,
you're-
smartphone, tablet, computer, anywhere around the world. We get donations from across the globe, because you think of your organization's a classic example. You have connections and people that follow you, I'm sure, from overseas, and the same with military organizations and animal organizations from across the country. So that's what's kind of cool, is this virtual world is expanding the reach of nonprofits immensely. Well, the majority of the donations obviously come from our local community.
Sure.
But you have folks that have lived here and moved away and still support those same organizations.
Well, Scott, thanks so much for being with us today, for kicking off your day. We really appreciate it. We're down with 1 and 10 more to go. And
good luck with your day. We'll be watching you all too, and look forward to seeing you on with Chris here in a couple of hours. And thank you all for allowing me, like I said, to kick off your day around the Big Give, because we're excited that you're really getting into it. And good luck with your program and raising that money.
thank you so much. And one thing I neglected to do in the beginning is you'll find Scott's bio in the comments of our Facebook page where we're streaming. So just to get to know him a little bit and see what he has done, including with the Nonprofit Council and with broadcasting, and also a link to the Big Give site to make your donation to the World Affairs Council or other organizations that you feel strongly about. Scott McAninch, thank you so much.
Thank you, Armin.
And you guys have a wonderful day, and we will check in with you later.
All righty. Take care, y'all.
Have a good one. We can also just stand here and look at each other.
Are we off?
No, we're not off. I think we're going to remain on because we're going to keep.
I can segue out.
You can segue out.
You remember what, like Mercedes said, remember when I was only going to talk for 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one, Scott. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye. All right. Samantha, are you there?
I am.
All right. How are things looking from your side?
Looking good. Got some people watching on Facebook, been commenting back.
Great. I didn't ask you about any questions, so hopefully.
We did not have questions yet, but I will keep you informed.
All right. So we have a few minutes. So we're gonna come back here at 9 to talk to our board chair, Patricia Diaz-Dennis, and Wayne Smith. And then we might come back a little bit early just to talk about our donors and our sponsors, and maybe play a video or two. So hang tight, and we will be back. All right, we are back. We are getting close to the 9 o'clock hour to have our second program with Patricia Diaz-Dennis and Wayne Smith. Before we do that, I will share a video with you all. All right.
The World Affairs Council is doing incredibly important work in ensuring that the average San Antonian has access to the importance and education and training and international diplomacy, and understanding that our world today is more connected than ever, and that it's incredibly important for us in our future to build bridges with other communities around the world.
What attracted me to the World Affairs Council was wanting a bigger view than I was getting from reading the daily newspapers and the nightly TV shows, and be hopefully experts, but if not experts, well informed on what is happening in the different areas, countries, continents of the world.
In 1982, there was the military community here who passed through San Antonio and brought internationalism to the city, but there was no forum for the discussion of international relations. There were other people in San Antonio who saw the city as the largest metropolitan area without a World Affairs Council, and they did something about it.
It was founded by a number of local luminary business people. They started the job of bringing the world to San Antonio and San Antonio to the world.
I look back on the history of this organization with enormous pride. We're so thankful that in this year we can look back and thank all of these founders.
The more that we can talk about and educate people on what's going on in the world, the better off we're going to be.
I think an understanding of the rest of the world is critical to becoming a better citizen of this country. And I think if we expose people to what is happening in the rest of the world, they will learn to value this country more.
I believe that our members appreciate the opportunity to engage with people, thinking that they might not otherwise engage in, and to talk about some of these topics that simply aren't a lot of venues to talk about. It brings the world affairs mindset to the people in the community. I've had the opportunity to visit various countries, but many folks haven't. By having this organization here, you bring that aperture open so people can understand what is San Antonio's interest in world affairs.
And even right up the road in Austin, you wouldn't get the same conversation and you wouldn't get the same implications as when we have these conversations here in San Antonio, Texas.
The most rewarding aspect of being a member of the World Affairs Council and serving on its board is being with other people, building relations with people that are also interested in similar things.
People should join the World Affairs Council, first of all, because it's a lot of fun. You meet really fascinating people who are have a lot of a variety of interests.
Attending all your different events, I personally like to talk to different folks, find out their roles, their responsibilities, and see what I can learn from them.
For me, the thing that I enjoy the most at the World Affairs Council is our diplomat salons.
So it gives you the opportunity to be in a room with somebody very distinguished, very interesting, and actually ask questions and get feedback in a much smaller setting.
The Young Professionals Program invites people to come together and learn these different viewpoints, to engage, to broaden their horizons. And broadening the horizons of anyone in this very globalized world is absolutely vital to being able to engage with it, to understand all the different kinds of people and thoughts and cultures that we're going to come in contact with.
I think it's very important that our young students begin to discern what real knowledge is, what real information is, and get it directly from the very fine people we bring to this community on a regular basis.
These are really important events for our youth to be able to attend because it gives them just first-line access to some of these newsmakers versus having a more diluted sense of what's going on in the world. They get to hear it firsthand and draw their own conclusions.
We want an educated community. We want a community that is discerning. We want a community that has an international perspective and focus.
It's not hard to have a peek as to what's going on in the World Affairs Council here through these programs. We help them hear firsthand what's behind some of this activity.
A World Affairs Council has an important role to play in introducing, if you will, the citizens of San Antonio to the world around us, to the world in which we are a player.
Global experience is part of global education. And so the World Affairs Council helps facilitate opportunities for educating everyone in our community.
The work of the World Affairs Council very much demonstrates that, and I wanted to be a part of it.